Up next, we'll introduce you to a group of Americans who, in their own quiet way, are proving they actually do give a damn. It's an emotional struggle which pits man against nature right after these messages. A lot of folks would say before they die, on their bucket list, is the desire to travel to Africa and go on safari. But hidden away from the awe and the excitement the safari tourists witness is a desperate group of Kenyans, hundreds of thousands of them, who struggle just to survive. It's a daily effort just to find water.
Every year, more than 500,000 tourists flock to the plains of the Kenyan Serengeti for a once-in-a-lifetime chance to witness the wonders of its wildlife. And for those who are fortunate enough to be here in the Masai Mara at the right time of year, they witness one of nature's most dramatic natural phenomenons, the annual wildebeest migration. As the seasons change, thousands of wildebeests and zebra migrate the open plains of the Serengeti and Masai Mara in search of greener pastures. They travel in large herds, keeping close to one another for protection from the predators, who also follow this migration closely, waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike. Here at the banks of the Grumeti River is where one of the most significant wildebeest life and death obstacles is usually played out. When the waters are high enough to slow them down, crocodiles will lurk under the water's surface, patiently waiting for the weaker wildebeest to misstep and be swept away down in the current. Then the crocodiles strike, naturally thinning out the herd. But for the past several years, Kenya has experienced its worst drought on record, and the waters of the Grumeti River have been so low that all the wildebeest cross the river with no threat from its predators at all, and the crocodile can only watch helpless from its banks. Even without the threat of the crocodile, every animal in Kenya is facing an epic struggle for survival. No water means a further distance they have to travel for vegetation, and every species is dying off in record numbers due to dehydration and starvation. This drought has hit Kenya hard, and not just the wildlife. It is estimated that more than 3.5 million people are facing starvation due to lack of accessible water. There is very little to no water for crops, no water for bathing, and to obtain clean drinkable water, one must purchase it from vendors in town. Inspired by a desire to help is what has brought Ron Hatfield to Kenya.
In 2002, I met a woman by the name of Bernadine Angalusha. My wife and I were in Germany on an assignment, and while we were there, we learned a little bit about her situation. A young nanny that was saving every penny to send it home and do things in her own little village, in a rural village in Kenya. She was like Mother Teresa. She had nothing, and yet she was doing something. And I asked myself, what was I doing? What was I giving back? And the answer to that was little. Little is probably an understatement.
I think not all the money in the world can solve problems there, but these people, they need teaching, they need education, and they need to change the mentality. This will help them.
We began to help with Bernadine and some of the things that she was doing, and it was very satisfying.
And this was the beginning of the humanitarian group called In Our Own Quiet Way.
In a nutshell, Quiet Way is an organization where we focus on the basic needs of humankind making sure that people have food, water, shelter. When it comes to Africa, what we've been doing is we've been focusing on the most basic general needs. Starving people don't think 6 months in advance. Starving people don't think 5 years in advance. You know, they're thinking to themselves, how am I going to survive tomorrow? And so addressing the needs in Africa of getting people out of that survival mindset.
These women are celebrating their new life's opportunity provided by vocations created by Bernadine and in our own quiet way.
The very first project that Quiet Way engaged in was the formation of a women's co-op. Bernadine had just basically a concept in her mind of what would best serve these women, and that would be to give them a parcel of land so they could do some extra farming, some sewing machines, some chickens and cows, livestock, and for a group of about 30 women in a little community to have just basically these assets that they could use to generate an income for themselves and for their family, and also to help them support the orphans they were caring for.
Helping these 30 women with their co-op was just the beginning of many, many projects adopted by In Our Own Quiet Way. Next, they were approached by a community in Asembo who wanted to build a community center to help care for their orphans. In Our Own Quiet Way helped raise the funds to pay for this building, and the community has teamed together to help build it. Rock by rock, it has taken 3 months to construct this much. However, but he forgot the roof.
No, the roof, you know, the building is done in stages. Yeah. It cannot all be done at once. So it first the walling, the roofing, and then maybe the fittings, the plumbing, is then you do the plastering, and then painting.
And the most important part is the children.
Very much.
Yes.
In fact, that is our dream, to have the children here and to be supported and feel like other human beings.
They gave us the whole plan, everything they wanted to do, and asked if we could just help them raise the funds for it and get the technical expertise out to make sure that we could build a center for them that would be useful for, you know, years to come for these children. It's got a center for teaching, it's got an area for eating, it's got food storage, it's got a kitchen, but it's a central gathering place for these orphan children. There's actually a little bit of extra land where they can grow food if they need to, so that it can kind of be self-sustaining. And it's great, they did it on their own. How exciting is that? It's so cool.
Well, not only that, they were also talking about, yes, this will be a center to serve the orphans, but when they have this center, this will be like City Hall. This is where the community will come and meet and discuss their problems. So it's even beyond orphans.
Well, and that's what's exciting when the community actually comes up with its own program and brings it to us. What's cool is that we don't have to tell them how to make it efficient or tell them how to make it useful. When they're empowered with their own ideas, they begin to think, what more can we use it for? What more can we accomplish with this? You know, how much further can we take it?
From helping 30 women to now over 200 orphans, In Our Own Quiet Way scope was growing quickly. But they wanted a way to help even more. How could they instantly increase the numbers they served from hundreds to hundreds of thousands?
The solution to this issue is not continuing to give more food always, but to feed them until they can feed themselves with the right resource, in this case, water. If they can have the water, they can feed themselves.
It's so easy for us to just step in, you know, a couple of funds, a little bit of professional training.
In our case, we're building dams, small dams.
We'll probably be right in this area here. We'll because you have the exposed bedrock we can tie into, and I'm not sure how far over. We'll go probably 20 meters or so, and tie into that hillside, and then we'll excavate out a large pond area.
Our country is facing a big problem with the lanes.
On a basic level, I mean, water really is life. It really is the source of everything to these people.
We have little rains for a time. Sometimes no rains at all. Like now, right this area, we experience long rains for about 4 years.
These people were literally starving to death. No water for crops, no water for cooking, cleaning, anything at all. If they needed water, they were walking miles and miles every day. And that was just to get enough to survive.
They are getting food from shops. No, they don't get any produce from their shambas. They have fertile soils, no rain to cultivate. But if they get this water, there will be irrigation.
And so they have the water to be able to grow the maize, the corn, and the beans to feed themselves in the future. That is the core of the problem right now.
According to UNICEF, the Horn of Africa is currently experiencing its worst drought on record. The areas affected worst, seen here in red, include southwest Ethiopia, eastern Somalia, and northwestern Kenya. No water means no irrigation for crops and livestock, and no crops means no money for local farmers, and the livestock are dying out in record numbers. Crops and livestock are the fundamental resource used by these local Kenyans to raise money. Now they have to spend what little money they have to purchase expensive water from town. Money that would have been spent on sending their children to school is now wasted on purchasing water just to keep their families alive.
You can see if there are 20 people relying on this well, then it can be a very big problem. Only 20 people relying on this well, then it can be a menace because the water is very scarce.
Can you imagine not eating, being weak from dehydration, starving, and having to make multiple trips daily to a dwindling well? Then having to haul 2 5-gallon buckets of water weighing more than 40 pounds each up this steep ravine. All just to water what meager crops you could coax out of this arid land. This local tree farmer pulled me away from the group, so proud to show off the seedlings he managed to sprout.
I want to plant this one.
What kind of trees are these?
Yeah. This one.
Ah,
Yeah.
up there.
Yeah.
But hard to plant without any water. And the water will help grow, yeah?
Yeah.
So you need lots of water.
A lot of them.
Right now you've got a few very small shallow wells that have gone dry, and so they have to go. Where are they getting water now?
After now they go for piped water.
Piped water all the way up at the highway, right?
Yeah, from the highway. You see,
Yeah.
along
1 or 2 kilometers maybe that they have to haul water?
3 kilometers.
3.
3 kilometers.
Yeah.
Every day hauling water.
Every day.
That's heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another problem these Kenyans are facing is when it rains, there is no solution for catching and retaining this rainwater. So the water races west, freely flowing across the dry land and eventually spilling into the Indian Ocean. However, the humanitarian group called In Our Own Quiet Way, in cooperation with the Kenyan government and local area officials, have created an ingenious solution to this wasted rainwater dilemma. Why not construct dams to hold this wasted water? Quiet Way has enlisted the help of American civil engineer Jason Draper.
Ron Hatfield and I have worked together on a couple projects in the St. George area where I live. And he started telling me a little bit about the work he was doing here in Kenya. He approached me and asked me what I thought about retention dams. I wanted to know what the feasibility, if it was a possibility, and what my thoughts were. And then he invited me to come along to help.
So what was it inside you that made you say, yeah, I want to sacrifice my time from work and go to Africa?
Well, you know, I think all of us have some need to share what we have with those around us. And Ron's passion, well, it just brings a lot to you. It just makes you feel that same passion. It's contagious. And so, you know, I've always tried to share what little I have, but with the chance to come here and see this beautiful country, besides as well a great opportunity for me to come and see another part of the world, but also help other people at the same time.
This is the new Quiet Way project. It's called Give a Dam. Their goal, 1,000 dams. These dams will enable all aspects of life to start healing. The crops can grow, the animals will survive, and most of all, the Kenyans can refocus their life back from a survival mindset to one of progress and improvement. We took a tour through a community who had already had the foresight of retaining water, and just listen how this local official illustrates the effect of having water and how it has benefited this community.
This is what water can do to the community. The community we are facing now has been wise enough to tap water and also block the flowing water and use pipes to pump their gardens and small and big gardens. Now they have abundance of fruits, abundance of bananas, and also vegetables, maize and beans. So,
All of this is proof of what just water can do.
yeah, this is a proof of what Quiet Way can achieve. These are the results we are expecting from what Quiet Way is doing, especially the 1,000 dams they are projecting to build in Kibwezi.
So are you involving the locals, or is it the Americans who are coming in and building these?
No, it's almost exclusively locals. We only provide support to the actual farmers from the area that are coming to do the labor, but we rely heavily on the ministry and the district officials to help us in the supervision of the project. The cement has to be shipped in, and then they mix the cement with the on-site materials, sand and rock, to create the concrete for this, and it's all manual. Small buckets by hand. The women carry the water from the town to mix with the sand and cement, and then the workers here mix it together and pour it by hand with 2-gallon buckets.
November 15th, 2009. The first of a projected 1,000 dams in Kibwezi has been completed. The villagers gathered to offer their sincere gratitude to the members of In Our Own Quiet Way who have made this all possible. When it is full, the dam will provide life-sustaining water to these villagers. No more having to trek miles and miles to purchase water from town. No more having to spend what little money they have on food, because having this water means they can grow their own crops. And these children will once again be able to return to school, because that money being spent on food and water could be spent on education, but there still has been no rain.
So, surely the dam has been constructed. I'm disappointed because the water has not come, the rain has not arrived, but keep praying.
It's
the God who gives to all men, and I think if you continue to pray, there will be relief soon.
And
on behalf of Quiet Way and on behalf of my father, Ron Hatfield, I want to let you know that we had 2,000 secondary school students raise money with their own families to build another dam. And so the children in the United States know about you, they know about your circumstances. You are loved by so many people, and we are so happy that we have the opportunity to help you. So thank you for receiving us, and Let's pray for rain.
1,000 dams in, I mean, what's the projection in how many years?
We, we talked about 1,000 is a pretty aggressive goal. And even at 50 dams a year, that's one dam a week. We're looking at 20 years. So we hope to do faster than that. I think 1,000 dams in 10 years is our goal.
We had a group of people celebrating the fact that you were here and that you had brought this dam to them. Was it heart-wrenching to see the dam up, but just see dry, arid land there?
It was difficult to see this finished structure just dry, barren, no rain in almost a year. And these people so happy, so pleased, but their hope, knowing that it would rain eventually, knowing that when it does, that they would have this water for their use.
It was bittersweet as we left the town of Kibwezi, a barren dam, a grateful and hopeful village, but ultimately it was unfulfilled potential. We left to tour other projects Quiet Way was supporting. We were in a village hundreds of miles away when we noticed storm clouds starting to gather. We all looked at each other and wondered, was Kibwezi finally getting some rain? And then, from Kibwezi, we received the phone call we were all waiting for. They said that it was raining there as well, and the dam was beginning to fill with water. So we packed our bags and headed back. How's it feel?
Feels good.
It's your first official dam with water
Our
in it?
first dam has water in it. That's good.
And not only did we get to go back and see it, but there's one particular lady who donated the land where that dam was built. And she was, just sitting there with a smile on her face because here was water for her village on her land that she just gave to everybody. That's so cool. That was so fun to get to see that selfless, just magnificent woman sitting back and enjoying the fruits of, of her selflessness and of her donation.
And everyone said, pray for rain, pray for rain. And within less than 5 days, did they think the Mzungu, the white people, brought the rain?
I hope not. I hope that it was their prayers that were answered. I don't think it had anything to do with the Mzungu or anything else. I think it was their prayers and their hard work that paid off.